Hello and welcome to another edition of this Cathedral Check-in series. My name is Mark McDonald, and today we're looking at the upcoming annual general meeting, which is happening this Sunday here at the Cathedral. And there's been a flurry of activity around this place as we get ready to do a meeting that is a little bit different than in other years. I'm sure you've heard that before. So joining me today to talk a little bit about how we're going to get through a virtual AGM is Dean Ansley Tucker and Cathedral Council member Mark Thompson. Thank you both for being here.
Good to be here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Hi, Ansley. I see that I don't see Jody today, but it looks like you've got St. Luke next to you there.
Jody's in the brig because I knew that she was going to interrupt us. For those who don't know, Jody is my wire fox terrier. Yes, this is St. Luke, and he is drawing a little image of the Virgin Mary. This was a gift to me by Sel and Joan Caritas when I was inducted into parish on St. Luke's Day many years ago now. Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here to talk a little bit about how we're going to get through this. Mark Thompson, who is our sort of tech guru around this place these days, is going to be a huge help on Sunday. So Mark, I wanted to start with you. As we prepare for the virtual meeting, what are the things that we have to do? And what are the things that have already been done?
Oh, we've been working on this for probably a month or a month and a half to make sure that we're ready for the meeting. As with many organizations for the last year, coming up with a way to run a meeting virtually the first time is always a bit of a head scratcher and a bit nerve-wracking. But we're going to take advantage of some of the features of Zoom. Many people have been used to Zoom for the last year. I'm sure that everybody on the everybody at the AGM will have had some experience, but we're going to be using a few features that they've maybe never used before. One of which is polling, because we have to run some votes for during the annual general meeting for administrative purposes. So to make sure that we capture everybody's vote who is registered to vote on the call, who's a member of the parish, everybody's going to get a chance to see the motions pop up on the screen and to vote whether they vote yes or they vote no for everybody in the house.
So let's start with the real basics here. So how does someone get into the meeting on Sunday?
Well, that's a good question. Hopefully everybody has already received, if you're registered with the church, you've already received a link in your email with a link that you can click on Sunday at noon to be able to enter the meeting. And that link is going to be sent out again on Sunday morning just to make sure that it's right at the top of your inbox. If you haven't received it yet, or if you're not sure if you've been registered with the parish yet, you should call the parish office at 250-383-2714 and to make sure that you're registered, or you can send an email to frontdesk@christchurchcathedral.bc.ca and you'll receive one promptly.
And I understand that there is a phone-in option as well. It's maybe a little bit limited, but if you can't join by email or on Zoom, then is that right, that there's a way that we can phone in?
Yeah, there is a way to connect by phone if you happen to be in a place that you don't have access to a computer, you don't have a computer at home. You won't be able to see, obviously, you won't be able to see the presentation on the screen, but you will be able to hear the presentation. And even the people who are talking in over the phone they're going to be asked for what their vote is when it comes to the official motions on the floor. If you call the Cathedral office or send an email to frontdesk@christchurchcathedral.bc.ca, you'll get an invitation that includes both the link if you're able to click on it, or the phone number if you're unable to click on it. You have to join by phone.
Right. So obviously phoning in is not the ideal option, but it's there if we need it. So.
It's there if you need to. Exactly.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Ansley, in this time for doing AGMs online, there's a lot of churches that are having to go through some of these challenges. And what do you foresee being some of the challenges for getting through Sunday for us?
Do you know, I think the first challenge we're trying to address right now, which is to make sure that people feel comfortable logging into this system for having a meeting, because it's foreign to us. The second challenge is one that Mark Thompson has been talking about, and why we've been having all these practice runs, which is to ensure that we can run the meeting smoothly when the people who are, pulling the levers behind the curtain are all in different places. And so you can't sort of nudge, nudge, wink, wink to the person at the end of the head table and get them to solve a problem for you. So this is why we've been practicing as hard as we have, and we've made some good changes, I think, that will make the meeting move fairly smoothly. You all know that customarily I've managed to entice people to come to the meeting by offering them lunch in the chapter room after a service. And then if they actually come up to the meeting, they can have a glass of wine to drink with their lunch. And this time, of course, you're going to have to fetch your own sandwich and your own glass of whatever suits you at home. We are leaving a bit of a break between the service, which goes from 10:30 to 11:20 or so, and the meeting, partly so that people will have time to get some lunch, but also because, and this is another challenge of the Zoom platform, this online presentation is, you can't do it for more than about an hour at a time without getting Zoom fatigued. And so we just want to make sure people have a chance to relax and fresh for the meeting. So those are some of our challenges.
So it's also a bit of a challenge to coordinate being able to have discussions on things. So how are we going to be able to facilitate that?
We actually have decided that it's not the best platform for discussions that lead to action items, because it's so hard to, it's possible in Zoom to break people into small groups, but then to report back and to consider what each group has reported is a bit complex. And so we've decided to keep this this annual meeting just to the basics, to the decisions that must be made in order to keep us in compliance with both the diocese and the law.
Thank you so much. So moving on to where we are going with arriving at the meeting and registering and things like that. Mark, could you walk us through a little bit about the timeline on Sunday and what people need to do and prepare for?
Sure. We're going to be opening up the meeting at noon on Sunday, with it officially beginning, the meeting proper beginning at 12:30. We want to make sure that everybody's got a half hour there to be able to get in. If they're having any difficulties with their computer or finding the email, whatever, we want to make sure everybody's got a lot of chance to get logged in. And we're also the chat session is going to be open. So if people, it's as Ansley said, it's not easy to be able to talk by video when there might be, we're not sure how many people are going to be there, but maybe 50 plus people are going to be on the line at the same time. So video is not going to be a great place because it'll just be noise, but we are going to leave the chat session open. So if people want to say hi, please do. There's going to be a few other features that we use within Zoom to make it easy to connect as well. The raise your hand feature is going to get used. And one thing I would actually like to mention is if people would mind in advance of the meeting, setting their screen name. It's going to be real if most people already have it set, but just in case your computer at home is set as kitchen iPad or something like that on your Zoom screen, it would be really helpful for us if you renamed your screen name in Zoom to be the real names of the people who are parishioners who are attending the call. It'll help us a lot with monitoring the votes and seeing when people check in when they get admitted into the meeting. That would be really helpful. And if you don't know how to do that, no big problem. We're actually going to cover it in the first 10 minutes of the meeting, just to make sure everybody understands how to raise their hand if they have a question that they would like to ask, or use the polling feature, or to be able to ask a question.
Right. So it's sounding like if you're feeling a bit worried about how to connect in the meeting or how to do any of these technical things like changing your name or voting, all that's going to get covered at the beginning.
All of that's going to be covered. Yeah.
Great. So come in early. As Mark said, the session is open at noon and we're not starting until 12:30. So there's lots and lots of time to get comfortable with the platform and ask your questions in the chat. And several of us will be there to do that.
And I suppose it's possible to get logged in, make sure that you've got your connection, and then to go off and have lunch and come back at 12:30.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You don't have to sit around waiting.
No, you don't have to sit there for half an hour. Absolutely
okay.
not.
Makes sense. Okay.
So let's move on to the actual agenda of the AGM. And for that, Ansley, could you enlighten us a little bit about what are the topics that are going to come up?
So the main topics after we have our tech clinic that Mark Thompson is going to lead are the finances of the past year, which we've been discussing at some length in a number of meetings called Serious Talk about the future of the cathedral and its finances. And then because, as I hope people know by now, we will be bringing a deficit budget, we'll consider a plan which has been cobbled together in order to address the deficit. And this plan has been devised using the input that we received from about almost 100 people who participated in one way or another in these conversations. Then we will, I hope, get the approval for the budget, which is being presented on the basis of that plan. And then finally, nominations and elections. And at the beginning of the meeting, we'll do a kind of year in review, which will be a PowerPoint review of the year in images and a few short video clips. This is instead of our living annual report that we've done for the last couple of years when people had a kind of ministry fair in the cathedral. But this will give us a sense of what a year of COVID has been like here at Christ Church Cathedral. And I'll also have a few words to say to the community, which is quite normal at the time of the annual meeting. So that's the plan. And I hope that we will be done in less than an hour and a half, because as I say, people get tired on Zoom if you push too hard.
Thank you, Ansley. So it sounds like there's a lot of stuff that we need to cover, but it's not going to be exactly the same as a normal AGM, and we all recognize that as we move forward to this very different, shall we say, unprecedented year. I've never heard that before, of course.
The most used word in 2020 and 2021.
That and you're muted.
Exactly. Well, it seems like we got through this one today. So thank you, Ansley and Mark, for joining me for this little chat. And if you have any more questions about the upcoming AGM, don't hesitate to get in touch. As we were saying before, contact front desk at christchurchcathedral.bc.ca if you don't have a Zoom link and you need to get a Zoom link, or if you have questions about how to get into the meeting, or call the church office anytime, especially today while we're still open, and happy to help you with any questions. So we look forward to welcoming you at any time between 12 and 12:30 on Sunday, and it's going to be fun. So again, thank you, you two, and we'll see you there.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks,
Thanks
Mark.
a lot. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.